Welcome to Mindful with Minaa, where we explore how mindfulness can enhance your relationships and well-being. I'm your host, Minaa B, a licensed social worker, mental health educator, and author. Through insightful discussions, I will guide you towards self-awareness and self-efficacy, empowering you to effectively manage your relationships, reduce burnout, and be more present with yourself. So let's jump into today's episode. What's up, Mindful community? Welcome back to another episode of Mindful with Minaa. I'm your host, Minaa B, and today I'm going to be talking about something that resonates with so many people, which is spending the holidays alone. We are literally 2 days away from Thanksgiving and even a few weeks away from Christmas, and not everybody has the luxury or even the opportunity or the safety to spend time with loved ones. You may have family in a different state, and this year you're not able to travel. You may have found yourself having strife or tension with your family, and maybe you have grown distant, or maybe you're estranged from your family, and so you're going to be spending the holidays alone. Whatever the reason, this episode is for you. Because in the midst of spending the holidays alone, you might also find yourself experiencing a sense of grief. And the holidays are often painted as a time of joy, love, and togetherness, but the reality isn't always so picture perfect. For some, it can be a time marked by solitude, grief, or even heartache. So whether you're spending this holiday season solo, by choice, or due to circumstances outside of your control, I want to assure you that you're not alone in your experience. And so today I'm going to be unpacking ways that you can make the holiday feel meaningful and how you can also allow two opposing feelings to coexist. This is not a time to pretend that you don't feel grief, sadness, or sorrow. And it doesn't mean that you don't experience gratitude or joy just because you are feeling grief and sorrow. You can feel both at the same time. You can feel a plethora of feelings at the same time. So I want you to give yourself permission to hold space for whatever it is that you're feeling. Let's start by normalizing the emotions that come with being alone during the holidays. Because for many, the holidays are a time for reflection. It's a time where people reflect on the loved ones who've passed away, relationships that have ended, or even traditions that feel out of reach. And when you're experiencing grief during the holidays, sometimes that grief isn't just about the loss of a person. It can also be the loss of expectations or dreams or goals. It could be you're experiencing the loss of a job this year. You could have been laid off. Maybe you're experiencing the grief of a friendship ending. Maybe you're also experiencing the grief of knowing that the year is coming to an end and you didn't achieve the things that you hoped to achieve. And also, when you're spending the holidays alone, maybe you envisioned a bustling holiday table and a home filled with people and hearing laughter and hearing a bunch of conversation, and that's not happening. So today is a day for you to allow yourself to grieve. When I was 19 years old, my father passed away, and my father was the glue to the family, honestly. He is who kept all of us together most of the time. And my father is the one who literally hosted for every single holiday. And after he passed away, a lot of family members just didn't want to do much. It was really like pulling teeth to figure out who's going to do Thanksgiving, who's going to host Christmas, who's going to host New Year's Eve, because in my family, we celebrate New Year's Eve together, and that's a huge, huge party. And after he passed away, those first few years, the holidays were really, really hard for me. I was lonely. I didn't really want to spend time with friends because I missed my father, but I also missed my tradition. At the end of the day, I had to acknowledge my father was never coming back. And so even if my brother did host Thanksgiving, or even if a sister did host Christmas, my dad wouldn't be there. And that was a lot to process for me. Now I'm 34 years old, and so a lot of time has gone by. And I will say that the holidays feel more exciting for me. And I do think that I've been able to manage that loss and sit with the grief that I have around losing my father. But at the end of the day, when you lose someone that you love dearly, you're always going to be grieving that person. And when the holiday season comes up, there are going to be times where we kind of wish things could be the way they were. And I want you to know that you can do certain things to make the holiday what you want it to be, especially if you're in a state of mourning. And so the first thing that I would suggest is for you to create your own ritual. It is literally what I had to do after I lost my father, where I thought to myself, okay, my father was really, really big on celebrations. He was really, really big on family gatherings. And even though he's not here, I want to make sure that we're still upholding his legacy and we're upholding the traditions that he cultivated for our family. And so we started to be very intentional about coming together during the holidays and cooking the recipes that my dad had and listening to songs that reminded me of my father. And those are some rituals that I created for myself, whether I am by myself during the holidays or even at a friend's house, at a family member's house. I'll cook a dish of rice and peas because it's what my dad made. So anywhere I go, I'm bringing a pot of rice and peas. You know, there are little things that I do to just remind me of my dad. And I think that when you're grieving a loss, whether it's the loss of a loved one or even a chapter of your life, it can be so meaningful to create a small ritual to honor those feelings. It could be something as simple as lighting a candle or writing a letter to yourself or spending time journaling, but it could also mimic some of the practices that I cultivated for myself, where maybe you're cooking the recipe of a loved one. Maybe that's a day where you're going through a photo book and just experiencing nostalgia, which is why I like to listen to a lot of Mark Anthony, or I'll play some calypso or soca music during the holidays because that's the music my dad loved to listen to. So it upholds the tradition for me and it makes me feel rooted in the day, and it allows me to honestly give myself space away from the noise, away from people, to just really sit with myself, but spiritually sit with my father. And that has been extremely meaningful for me as a way to have connection to myself and my dad, and to also have a sense of closure that, listen, my dad is never coming back, but I can make the holidays meaningful by creating rituals for myself that remind me of my father. The next thing I want you to think about is what it looks like for you to practice self-compassion when you're grieving during the holidays. It's important for you to be gentle with yourself. It's important for you to remember that this is not a time where you need to be doing more or forcing yourself to feel happier. We don't want to be engaging in toxic positivity where we're saying these quotes like everything happens for a reason or God won't give you more than you could handle. At the end of the day, sometimes we're handling a lot of things that we seriously just can't handle, and we don't know why these things happen. But at the end of the day, we're experiencing things that are heavy and hard to bear. So this is a time to release those shoulds. I should be doing more. I should be feeling happier. I should be more grateful, because there's no right or wrong way to experience this season. And at the end of the day, if you're telling yourself, I should be happy, but you're not happy, you're forcing authenticity. And if it's not coming from the heart and it's not coming from the spirit, it is not going to bear good fruit. So you're better off acknowledging that right now I'm sad. Right now I'm angry. Right now I'm disappointed. And as you work through those feelings with self-compassion, you may actually find yourself making room for more joy in your life. The other thing is the importance of reaching out to a support network. Even if you're spending the day alone, it doesn't have to mean you isolate yourself emotionally from people. Reach out to friends or certain family members, make a quick phone call, or even send a thoughtful text message. Do something that allows you to bond with other people and co-regulate. Now, let's talk about cultivating joy even in solitude, because joy doesn't have to come from extravagant moments or always being around people. It can be the small intentional choices we make to care for ourselves. So the first thing I recommend you to do if you will be spending the holidays alone is to plan your day intentionally. If you spent last holiday by yourself and you were really sad and you were struggling, what do you want this season to look like for you? This is a time for you to plan activities that you genuinely enjoy, whether it's watching your favorite holiday movie, cooking a delicious meal for yourself, taking yourself out to a restaurant, or even going for a walk. I always say it's important to plan your life. Don't let life keep happening to you. And what I mean by that is sometimes we forget how much control we really do have over ourselves and over circumstances. Do you have control over everything? Absolutely not. But we are not powerless people. And so I want you to do the work of tapping into self-efficacy, which is understanding that you have the power to change, and it's a belief in oneself that you actually can cultivate the life that you want to live. So if you want this holiday season to feel meaningful, to feel joyous, then what are you going to do about it? How are you going to plan for that? How can you plan in advance to make sure this Thanksgiving season or even Christmas Day, how can you make sure these next few weeks go the way you hope they can go? The next thing I encourage you to do is to treat yourself to something. There are times in life where we just need to indulge, okay? Maybe it's a small gift to yourself or doing something like taking a longer bath or allowing yourself to binge watch TV because it's something you typically don't do. Just treat yourself to something. Give yourself a gift, right? This is the season of gift giving, and we're always thinking about giving gifts to others, but what is a gift that you want to give to yourself? How can you celebrate you this holiday season? Now, the next thing I encourage you to do if you're spending the holidays alone is to connect with community. This is a time where you can find virtual or community-based programs where you can volunteer, or you might find that there are other people hosting virtual holiday gatherings because so many people are spending the holidays alone that there are organizations that are hosting these virtual gatherings to bring people together and provide a sense of fulfillment and connection. So I encourage you to figure out what are some volunteer opportunities that you can participate in your local neighborhood, or maybe go on Google and figure out if there are any virtual gatherings happening. Now, the last thing I encourage you to do is to create new traditions. Just because you're solo doesn't mean you can't create meaningful traditions. As I shared earlier, as a way of memorializing my father, I make rice and peas and I bring it anywhere I go, regardless of who is hosting, because that is a way of bringing my family tradition and a part of my father with me wherever I'm going. But even if I'm spending the holiday alone, I might cook some rice and peas for myself too. What is something that you can do for yourself? Decorate your house a certain way. Write yourself a gratitude note. Figure out what you want to do to make sure that the holiday still feels meaningful to you. Now, there's another thing I want to share in case you are spending the holiday alone by choice, because you can miss loved ones while also enjoying a quiet moment with a good book, with your feet kicked up, sipping a glass of wine, all by yourself. You do not have to feel guilty if you prefer to be alone during the holiday. And that is the point that I want to make. Sometimes you'll have people who will guilt trip you because it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you're missing out on family dinner. I can't believe you're not going to fly into town. And you might realize, I actually just want to be alone. That is okay. That doesn't mean you're experiencing loneliness. That means you prefer solitude right now. And that is okay. Acknowledge the duality of your emotions. You probably experienced so much and you're thinking to yourself, I just want a moment to myself. And that is okay. So give yourself permission to do whatever it is that you want to do during the holiday season without feeling guilty. So before I wrap up, I'm going to do a quick rundown of concrete tools that can help you navigate the day. The first thing is mindfulness practices. Start your day with a few minutes of meditation or deep breathing to center yourself and help you feel grounded and calm and present. And remember, you can practice mindfulness any moment of the day. It doesn't have to be in the morning. Another one is gratitude journaling. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for, no matter how small they are. Gratitude doesn't erase grief, but it can help shift your perspective. The next one is to limit social media use, because social media can amplify feelings of loneliness, guilt, or comparison during the holidays. So consider limiting your time online or curate your feed so that you can be seeing uplifting content. The next thing is to set those boundaries. If well-meaning friends or family members invite you to gatherings that you don't feel like going to, remember, it is okay to say no. Just because it's a holiday doesn't mean that you have to break your boundaries. Protect your energy and do what feels best for you. Lastly, there is always a benefit to movement. Physical activity, even something gentle like yoga or taking yourself on a short walk, can boost your mood and reduce feelings of heaviness. Now, before I log off, for those of you who are, now I do want to share, in case you are actually spending time with family and you're thinking to yourself, all right, I need a lot of tools on how to deal with my dysfunctional family members, I want you to go to episode 35 titled Things Dysfunctional Families Do and How to Break the Cycle. That episode is for you if you need to find ways to decompress, if you are actually going to be around a lot of people who present with a lot of difficult behaviors. So here's my closing thoughts. I want you to remember that the holidays can look different for everyone, and it may even look different for you this year, and that is okay. There's no one way to celebrate or cope. What matters most is that you honor your emotions and prioritize your well-being. Remember, solitude can be a time for self-attunement, reflection, self-love, and creating joy on your own terms. While grief may visit, it doesn't have to define your experience. So do what you need to do to take care of yourself during this holiday season. So thank you for tuning into today's episode. If you found it helpful, please make sure to leave a 5-star review and a rating wherever it is that you listen to your podcast. If you're listening on Spotify, let me know how you are taking care of yourself for the holiday season. Please make sure to share this podcast with friends or family. Also, follow me on social media at Minaa_B. You can also subscribe to my newsletter, Mindful with Minaa, and you can also order my book, Owning Our Struggles. All of that information can be found in the description box. Wishing you a wonderful holiday filled with warmth, love, and joy. Until next time.